Hello, you're in quickly, so well done. So yeah, this is going to be roughly, I think, about an hour and a half I'm going to do this stream. I'm doing 2 streams today, one at this time and one later in the day, for people in different time zones. Yep, this is a US M1 helmet, but I think this might be like a foreign reproduction of it. So it's pretty much just coming up to 1 PM, as you can see. That was meant to be my start time. Hello. So we should have a few people joining us in a minute, so we'll just wait for everybody to get in. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Just to shout that out there. Yep, you post on quite a few of these streams, no manning. I've got a Hungarian communist helmet, which is very similar to a Soviet one. Maybe in the next stream I'll get that one. I have a feeling the line is damaged on that one, so I don't know if I can wear it properly. Don't know what you're asking with that. What time zone are you in over airsoft then, if you're sort of 5 hours behind you somewhere in the US? I assume you'd have to be in the US, wouldn't you, or somewhere in South America to be in a time zone like that. Unless you're so far ahead of us that it's then that time in the morning, but I wouldn't think even Australia would be that far ahead. Not all of them, some of them. Most of them that where I can support the weight properly, they're doing that. All those masks are ones that are either in damaged condition, don't have any value at all, or like if you see the Vista Vision there, because that's the only valuable one there really. What I've done with it is it's supported by all its straps and the extra carry strap. Part of it is wedged onto the Lee Enfield, and its hose is wrapped onto the Lee Enfield as well. So its weight is totally, its weight is totally supported up there, so there's no risk of it getting ripped or like falling apart. But I just put some in the background because I thought that makes, the background look a bit more interesting. Right, so I received something quite funny through my door today. I thought I'd show it even though I'm going to avoid politics. If Weapon Collector's coming on, I might wait for him to come on before I show this, because I think he'll find it funny. No, I don't have a Mosin Nagant. Ah, you're on. Right, cool, Mike. I thought I'd show you this before I destroyed it. Guess what I had through the door? And weirdly enough, this came with a Labour Party, even though it says we're going to avoid politics on the stream. This came up with a Labour Party vote for Labour. So Labour calling anyone racist is a bit funny, isn't it, really? A bit ironic, shall we say. So I'll make sure I dispose of that now. Yeah, it doesn't actually properly tell you who's funded this. But anyway, let's test the Ganzo knife out, shall we? There we go. Yeah, it works pretty well. Oh, I'm putting confetti on my floor now. Yeah, everybody like the stream, please. It does help me out. It should be an interesting thumbnail for this stream. Because what I'm going to do is I've moved the disclaimer up to the top of the screen, so it should hopefully not get in the way as much, and then I thought for a lot of it I could hold the M1 carbine of the US helmet on. Then we've got, kind of an American themed thumbnail this time. Yeah, I've got a couple of animals now, but I volunteer at an animal shelter on Thursday, so I was up there yesterday in the morning. Yeah, I've got a PPSH 41. I'm not going to get it out on this video though, because I keep knocking stuff over trying to get it out. because it's slanderous material, Nova. Calling people you don't like Nazis is not a good argument. It's because he spoke at one of the same things UKIP spoke at about, you know, like, we're not going to go into all this, but yeah, it's kind of a guilt by association thing they're doing. But you know, there's a lot of bullshit in there because they don't, you know, actually put citations for that. But you know, I thought that was quite funny that, like I said, it came through with a Labour thing in the door. So yeah, you know, it meant obviously that's been printed by the Labour Party, or they're associated the group that's printed it. And you know, the Labour Party is known for anti-Semitism in the UK. So it's funny that, you know, a group with that many problems decides to call other people racist. That was my sort of what I was getting at. All my deactivated guns come from a place called D&B Militaria. What's the box you're looking at? I don't think there's a box in the background. Oh, there's those. They're just airsoft ones. One's an electric Walther P99, like a cheap one. One's a spring airsoft pistol. I'm not going to get those out because I have to open up, take the alarm clocks off and everything and sort all that out. I already just answered that, communist. I said I've got one, but I'm not going to show it on this stream because I have to get it out and it will knock stuff over. If you watch on my other streams, you'll see it. All my videos just on the PPSH on my channel. I don't know about Notre Dame. You'd have to read the news. Yeah, let's have a look and see how many likes and dislikes we've got so far. I did do a gaming channel for one part, but I've just not got enough interest in it, to be honest. I occasionally put gaming streams up on here, along with the normal stuff. But I've not got a massive interest, to be honest, in a lot of the gaming type stuff. $19 likes so far, but apparently 46 views, so you need to improve that number, people. Maybe some camo if it's in your size, Mike. Then you could just put it through a washing machine, couldn't you? And you've got more outdoor clothes. Depends what you mean by working actions, because obviously they're deactivated, so you can't reactivate them. I don't use a razor to shave, I just use an electric one every couple of days. I've already done a video where we test the electric lighter on a person. It just burns slightly. I've got an RPK, communist. It depends on the coloration and everything like that, Nova Airsoft, but nobody's going to send me anything, so there you go. No, I've never used a straight razor to shave. They're sort of outdated technology now, aren't they? That's a good idea, yeah, Mike. See if you can find some old, like, sport armour kind of things. No, I've not got a PO box and I'm not going to be opening one. Yeah, exactly. If they're next to nothing, you might as well do it. I don't know if you get it at the car boot sale near you, but what we get on the car boot sales near us sometimes is stores that sell food that's only just run out of date, but it's still all sealed properly for really, really cheap, and sometimes that's really good just for buying. No, I don't have a check NBC suit. Do you mean the rapier over there, Blitzkrieg Carl? It's a rapier. I showed that last stream, so I'm not going to get it down again. I got an S10 for I think about £5 in a carry satchel in a car boot sale once. It really depends on the suit. Some suits are very cheap, some can be very expensive. If you're looking for like a modern military spec NBC suit, often those are about, you know, £100 odd. If you're to buy an old Warsaw Pact rubberized suit, some of those are like £10. So, you know, the prices can really vary. No communist national service ended in this country in about the 50s or the 60s, I think it was. So since then it's volunteer only. Although they've cut it so much that, you know, they don't have enough soldiers in the army and all that sort of problems. Right, I'm glad I make you happy, Rox. No, the only firearm you could even consider close to World War I is that Lee Enfield up there. Because the Lee Enfield is a #1 Mark III that they actually had in World War I, but that particular one's dated 1939. So it's a World War I era firearm, it's just one that was made a lot later than World War I. Oh, it's because it's earlier in the day, Alexander. When I do streams later in the day, there's generally more people on, but I like to do ones earlier in the day now and again for people in different time zones. We're talking about whatever, as long as it doesn't, you know, go into that category of things we don't like to talk about. Air Force is more interesting, I think, over airsoft. Well, because Moss and Nagant still aren't cheap to buy deactivated, they're still a few £100s, and I've already got a bolt action rifle. And I can't shoot them, can I? So there's no point. But what I wouldn't mind chatting about a bit, because we were chatting about this with some people last stream, is camouflage. Because some people were saying, I live in this area, and they tell me what the rough area was so I could, you know, Google it, and then they said, could you recommend me a camo? And that was quite good fun, actually. So if some people want to do that, we could do that. Keeps things interesting. I've looked into escape hoods a few times, but most of the times I've seen them, they've been really expensive. So I've never really bothered, you know, with getting them. But it's one of those things where if I see one on eBay really cheap, I might get one for doing this, you know, a video on if I find an expired one or something. I'll tell you a camo that's got a really good infrared rating. I assume you mean infrared as in old IR night vision, not thermal blocking. Is the old Czechoslovakian stuff. If you watch my videos on that, it actually has two separate camo patterns. One you see with the IR light, one you see with the regular human eye. And I've never seen other camos do that. I've seen camos that obviously look quite good under infrared, as in the camo pattern is still visible. But I've never seen anything as good as the Czech suit, where it actually has a completely separate camo pattern if you look through IR. Yeah, I've got Roadside Picnic, the book, down there on my bookshelf. And no, I don't have a ghillie suit. I don't really see much point to a ghillie suit, because if you wear regular camo with a bit of scrim netting on it, it's going to work just as well. Let's just see if I could get the lock open bit to work properly on the M1. I wouldn't put my finger in the way of it because that might be a bad idea, but there you go. Now, how do you get there? We go. You just pull it back a bit, don't you, and it takes the latch back off. Yeah, I've shot a 22 long rifle before, and I've shot a, I think it was a 20 bore break barrel shotgun, but that was before I even did this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I'd have definitely filmed the videos and put them up. Alright, see you, Mike. The thing is, most camos, if you are lying flat in a field, are going to work fairly well. I've got some night vision, Maxi boy. Although it's not modern night vision, if you mean, well, it's modern, but not modern mil spec stuff, if that's what you mean. So you look through that end when it's turned on, and it's got the IR illuminator, and obviously the viewfinder. I've got a plate carrier. I bought one recently. I was showing it in some of the recent videos. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, personally, I'd rather have lighter weight armour in some sort of thing where I'd need armour, but yeah, I can't fault a plate carrier, really. Yeah, the M51's a really cool looking mask. Or are you on about a helmet, rather? Because I know the SSH-40 is a Soviet helmet, isn't it? But the French M51's also a gas mask, so... It depends what kind of night vision you're looking for. The stuff like I bought is £100 for an IR illuminator. That's, yeah, very affordable. The problem is if you start going into the really good light amplification sort of devices, then it can get very expensive. Yeah, like what Mechanized and Weaponized just said. It's yeah, it can get very expensive if you're going after the like military style stuff. But yeah, if you want to get cheap stuff, you can just get an IR illuminator, like I've got. That's fairly affordable. And FLIR cameras are finally starting to come down a bit. Like, I think it's still going to be about another 5 to 10 years before they're really affordable. But you know, you can now, if you wanted to pay less than £1,000 or dollars, get a fairly decent FLIR camera. US M1 carbine from World War II deactivated. Shot the 30 carbine round. So it's a bit like an assault rifle, but not really. It's one of those early kind of intermediate cartridge guns, bigger than a pistol round, smaller than a conventional rifle round. Later variants of this had the 30 round magazines on them. I've got two Stahlhelms. I've got the Swiss Stahlhelm and I've got a German M40 Stahlhelm. But both of those are missing liners and fairly rusted. It's not an M1A1, it's just an M1. Yeah, that's a pretty good number then, isn't it, Rox? 24 views, 23 likes. No, I've not got a Ushanka. When you say the M40, do you mean the M40 gas mask? Or respirator? Probably several £1,000s and over, but it's impossible to say. AK-74, because the caliber's got a flatter trajectory. I've already done some videos on that, No Man Inc. But I'm not a science channel, so I can't explain a lot of the stuff behind it. I can explain to you like how you can take cover from radiation and stuff like that, which I've done in a video, but not really yeah. It supposedly can, because like the level 2 police vests are rated for things like 357 and 44 Magnum at the top end, so I imagine 30 carbine it would stop at a distance. If somebody was shooting at you very close with 30 carbine, I reckon the police vest wouldn't protect you from it. But yeah, level 3A Kevlar would definitely protect you from 30 carbine. Like a modern plate carrier is easily going to protect you from it if it can stop things like 5.56, which is higher in velocity than 30 carbine. That's tomorrow night, Adam. I'm taking them all out. But yeah, for me it definitely is. Because, yeah, if I'm driving and I'm getting like £20 plus worth of food bought for me, I'd much rather do that because the petrol's only going to cost me £5, I reckon. You want the one I've got on? Yes, alright. It's not my favourite Cold War helmet, but for a late World War II, early Cold War helmet, it's pretty good. No man Inc. That depends on which country's definition you're going off of for an NBC suit or hazmat suit. But generally, a hazmat suit is the one that's pressurized, like with an air tank or whatever. NBC suits are just the rubber suits. In terms of Finley, what else? NBC suits I'd recommend, probably something like a former East German or Polish suit, just because they tend to be very cheap now on eBay and they'll do the job of protecting you. Again, Alexander, it's impossible to say because it just depends what's on eBay at the time you're looking for it. But yeah, a lot of the mask pole filters are good, but as I said, often I just buy industrial filters when I need them. Because if you look at places that sell, you know, like any of the brands of like industrial stuff, quite often they've got ABEC, P3, you know, RD40 filters for like £8 or something. It's definitely better than nothing, Compop. It's not going to stand up to certain chemicals for long, but it's better than nothing. As long as your skin's completely covered, it is going to protect you from things like nerve agent for a while. Right, Nathan, in the UK you're not allowed to bow hunt. But if, let's say, in a theoretical situation, like once rule of law had collapsed and everything, and it was for survival, probably just a decent crossbow, a decent recurve crossbow, but I've shown those before. Rocks isn't hurting anyone, communist. That's in a different room, No Man Inc. When I'm in my bedroom, this room has blue curtains. One of the other rooms in the house has red curtains. I've already done videos on improvised gas masks, but for the most part I wouldn't recommend it. No, because it's not got a liner in it, Blitzkrieg, and I wouldn't really want to wear Nazi-style uniforms on camera. Just saying, you know. That'd be interesting. If you've got a uni thing where they've actually got the conversion like the 3D printing stuff, then yeah, printing some converters might be a good idea, because you can find the schematics online apparently, or like the files that you load into a 3D printer. No, CS gas isn't legal for civilians to own in the UK. It would be on the Section 5's firearm list, which is for like police and military only. Don't know what you mean by that, Riley. I don't know, because I haven't taken them all apart and looked at them. If you're on about the West German Zodiac suits, Finley, as far as I'm aware, they have like bits of metal in them to reinforce them, which apparently makes them quite uncomfortable and heavy. I don't have that helmet, so I can't recommend it. Ah, cool, Richard, so that's nearly done then, is it? Yeah, as soon as it's done, send me some pictures and then I'll send you the thing on PayPal again. AK bayonets were never really designed to hold an edge, so unless you grind it on an actual sort of grinding wheel, which a lot of people wouldn't recommend, not really. In my opinion, yeah, the Polish and the East German suits are better, just because they're a bit lighter. No, you can't have an airtight seal with a balaclava on and a gas mask together. I've done a video on the plate carrier, but you're not going to see it for like a month because of my video scheduling, but you've seen it in the live streams already. What's the temperature like outside for you today? I'm going to have a look on my local stuff. I've been out today, but I didn't notice it being particularly warm. Well, it's about 20 degrees where I am, 21 degrees. Yeah, yes. Sort of typical spring weather, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, all bayonets are actually intended as stabbing tools. Fleck, most aren't utility knives, but some are kind of a weird crossover one. But yeah, if you use a bench grinder, you can put an edge on it, but bear in mind that can mess up the heat treatment. Although where I put an edge on my AK bayonet, that's not actually had a problem since. It's early afternoon. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon at the moment. If you want to look, that's the actual time. I think they should still have bayonet training, because it makes sense that you can still put bayonets on rifle and use them in close quarters fighting. If you mean the cold steel gladius or the old gladius sword, yes, because it can stab and slash. It's a relatively short sword. If you mean, do I like the Soviet Union? No, because it murdered 100, well, not the Soviet Union, but it murdered about 20 to 40 million people, depending on which statistics you look at. I don't have any Glock knives, but the ones I've seen, a lot of the gun brand knives look fairly good. But they're just general utility knives, aren't they? I've got a kukri. I like a kukri. Some people have said it's quite hard to resharpen the edge on a kukri. Again, we're verging into the political discussion, aren't we? But if you count up the entire Gulag system and Stalin's forced famines, no, it didn't. Yeah, I've played the original Gears of War, which I like, and Gears of War 2. I've not played any of the sequels after that, but yeah, I like the original Gears of War. But yeah, you get the Lancer, don't you, which has the chainsaw bayonet. I haven't heard of that film, Adam. I'll try and remember to check it out. I was watching a load of documentaries recently on Stalin and Mao, though. And, you know... yeah, I mean, all genocides are terrible. I don't think anybody in this stream is going to argue that, you know, innocent people getting killed is a good thing, are they? Yeah, the M1 carbine is really light. It's only like a kilo. It amazes me how light for a wood furnished rifle this is. See, it's like no problem whatsoever to move around. Why would I want an Xbox? No manning. Yeah, because I mean it's a 1950s or 60s design, isn't it? Industrial mask, so it is very retro looking. The US, the M1 carbine's a US rifle, and then it was also, I think, South Korea and South Vietnam used it as well. Britain used it very briefly for like specialist roles. No, because this channel's dedicated to weapons and military history sort of stuff. No, it's not heavy at all. As I said, this is like about a kilo, I think. It's actually lighter than an M4 carbine, which is the crazy thing, despite this being like a wood-furnished rifle. AK-47 because it was designed later and had a better cartridge. But both are fairly competent rifles. Don't forget, everybody, if you want to support the channel by getting merch, have a look at my Teespring below and you can get a mug like this or a shirt like this, or the ones with the GP5s on or whatever. The actual AK, as much as people say it ripped off the Sturmgewehr, the AK stuff is derived a lot more from the M1 Garand. I really like my Billhook Blitzkrieg that Richard Weaponsmith built me, but that's a bit bulky. It depends what kind of melee size weapon do you mean. Do you mean like a little convenient knife type thing, or do you mean a big polearm, or what? No, I can't do a Scottish accent, communist. Yeah, I'm alright, Riley. I had a really bad headache when I woke up, and it was weird because I wasn't hungover or anything because I barely had any alcohol last night. So I have no idea why, but I woke up at like 6 AM before my alarm clock went off with a really splitting headache. I don't know if I laid at a really awkward angle during the, you know, when I was asleep or whatever. So then at 6 AM, you know, when I woke up, I took some painkillers. Then I went back to bed, but then I slept for like ages after that because the painkillers like zonked me out while I was sleeping. So then I ended up, you know, getting up far later than I wanted to get up. The original L85 A1s, yes, because they had loads and loads of faults. There's a very good Forgotten Weapons video on it. You know, that explains lots and lots of the problems of it. I'm sure that the type of thing like an exosuit with CBRN stuff in it would be completely plausible. At the moment, exosuits and exoskeletons are pretty primitive. They've sort of started designing them, haven't they? But they're not getting anywhere close to like fantasy levels yet, or sci-fi levels, you know. At the moment, it's just simply like they can get an exoskeleton for somebody to walk around with on the test range, you know, and it looks very primitive. Yeah, they're replacing it with the A3 though, aren't they? But the thing is, the A2 fixes most of the problems of the A1. Yeah, exactly. But remember, it replaced the SLR that's over there, and the SLR's you know, regarded as one of the best rifles of, you know, the Cold War. So when you replace a FAL with something as dreadful as an A1, that kind of makes it even worse. Depends what you mean on YouTube content. Some channels make good content, some channels don't. You know, it's impossible to say. Just watch channels that you like the content from is all I'd advise. Favourite Stalker faction? Probably, I don't know, I like Clear Sky. I also like Ecologists, and I suppose I like Duty out of the more like over-the-top factions. Bren gun. MG42 is obviously a lot more effective as a machine gun for big suppressive fire, but Bren gun is actually a lot more accurate and you can carry it, and it used to be used like an automatic rifle as well, like the bar was used like, you know, where a single soldier could carry it around and shoot it from the hip fairly accurately. With reenactors, they have a combination of both. Some have old military guns where they just have blanks for them, and some reenactors with a special kind of license they get are able to buy like replica blank firing firearms. I used to play War Thunder, I haven't played it in ages. No, I will do a Russian accent just for you, communist, but it will not be very good. Yeah, the French right arm is in the background with the GP7 gas mask on it. We don't get many cardboard milk cartons over here, Slingshot. I think over here we sometimes get them for long life milk because they're not stored in fridges. But most milk comes in like the plastic cartons. You can get bagged milk over here. Where I work at the weekends, we have bagged milk for the milk machines. But that's just because it's like we go for a massive amount of milk per day, and you can put bagged milk in a big, you know, like milk dispensing machine for giving people milk for their coffees and that. But one of my friends recently had bagged milk in their house. Apparently that is slowly becoming a thing here, but I imagine it will be decades before it's, you know, like a commonly accepted thing. I've got Hearts of Iron 3 and 4. I prefer 3 to 4, to be honest. Oh yeah, I suppose orange juice cartons are fairly similar, aren't they? Oh, you didn't know about bagged milk, Mike? Yeah, it's been around for a while. But not so much over here. It's like been a big thing in Canada for ages. Well, rather than getting your milk in a carton or in like a plastic carton, it's where it's in a bag. It's like, you know, a thick bag that's not going to rip easily. But the idea, I think, is that it's just less environmentally harmful than some of the plastics. But I was saying at work we use bagged milk because we get the bagged milk delivered in cardboard boxes, and then you can load it into the coffee milk dispenser thing. And that way you can have, you know, like 5 litres of milk in the dispenser at a time, you know, and then every few hours in the cafe you can replace the milk dispenser bags. I got the SLR years ago. Probably within a year of starting this YouTube channel, I imagine, so sometime like 2013. Right, in terms of like a decent amount of hours per week that I work, I do a kitchen porter job at the weekends at a garden centre near where I live, so I don't have to commute very far. I volunteer with the Blue Cross, which is an animal charity, on Thursdays, but that's voluntary work. I'm not paid for it, I just like doing it because I like doing it. Then I do a few other things on the side that can make me money, but obviously due to tax reasons I don't want to go into all those on a video, because I have to fill out the forms and make sure I'm doing it properly, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm earning a certain amount from one thing. You know, the value's different, and then, you know, invalidate stuff. No, there's no shotgun in the background. There's a Lee Enfield at the top, bolt action rifle, and there's an SLR to the right with that, which is a, well, technically, yeah, it's to the right if you're looking that way, which is a battle rifle. Yeah, that's why I put the two together on this stream, heavy weapons guy. I thought, we'll have an American themed one. No, I don't have any Leatherman knives or like multi-tools. How many people here are a fan of Fallout New Vegas? Because if you are, I'm going to show you something in a minute, because I can actually do it with the stuff I've got today. No, I've not got a FAC. Right, so a few of you like Fallout New Vegas, right? Don't forget to like the stream. I'm just going to do something and come back. Right. Let me just finish my coffee off because I'm not going to be able to drink my coffee. Need to pop my glasses off as well. If I can get the filter to screw into the gas mask, alright? That'd be a good start. There you go, that's the NCR Desert Range or whatever it's called thing, the M1 helmet with the M40. I need either red or green outserts for this really to look like the NCR thing, but that's the actual look of it. Can I get the brim of the helmet a bit lower? Because if I can, that will look a bit more like it. So yeah, the guy on the cover of New Vegas when the Fallout, not Fallout, the NCR Rangers, that's pretty much what they've got on the M40 and the M1. Both, Jay. The check, both. Yeah, sadly it's very hard to get the green or red outserts for these. I'd like there to be more collectors like me on a YouTube Alpha that can have fun and don't get really butthurt over everything. That would be nice. Yeah, because I think by the time the N40 came into service, the Pascut was actually in service. The thing is though, this doesn't fit too badly, to be honest. Tell you what I could do. I know you're not meant to wear it like this, but let's just do something. Alright. Let's take the liner out of the M1 helmet. Right, we'll take this out. Then we'll get the actual shell of the helmet. There we go, that's better. I'm a libertarian communist. Yeah, M1's are steel pot helmets. No, it's because I took the liner out. Right, you're obviously here to be a dickhead, aren't you, communist? So goodbye. breathing through this makes a really weird noise. I don't know if you can hear this on the microphone, but this is a US M40 mask. It was the mask they used until the M50 replaced it. Let me just get the straps a bit tighter. Yeah, I think the harness for this has slipped slightly. Let's see if I can correct that on the back of my head. Maybe, I don't know. Might have to take the mask off and then put it back on again. Now, if I get all the straps undone, can I then get that centralised again? Let's have a look. I don't have a Ranger, kind of like Park Ranger style hat, if that's the one you mean, Amir. Yeah, this is a 40mm NATO mask. Right, let's grab the M1 again. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Now I'm playing dress up for you. I need a duster coat with this on, don't I? For the Fallout look. I'm not too bothered, Weapon Collector, just because I don't want to keep having to make videos on it when I only do 3 videos a week that aren't streams. You know, so I don't want to have to then do 2 videos to take away from regular programming. But I like the Through Night Torches. Pros and cons, it's got a pretty good voice diaphragm. Cons, it's made of silicone, so it has to have this second skin on it. This is actually a cover for the mask, because the mask would dissolve if exposed to certain chemicals. Oh, glad you like it, Johnny. I've actually got, in the other room, I've got a trench coat that would go quite well with it. I've got 3 German World War II masks, 2 which are civilian masks, the Volks Mask 37 and the Volks Mask 40, and I've also got the GM38. Alright, see ya. I don't have a musket, no. I still don't know, I haven't looked at that channel, Slingshot Warrior, so I can't buy something I haven't looked at. I'm going to switch to the S10. Just chuck him over there without damaging it. Right. Right, let me put the liner back in this helmet. I'm just seeing if I can get this thing in better, because I know why these are on the M1 helmets, but I just really don't like them. The like that bit. Right. So let's go get an S10 with the red outserts, because why not? Take the filter off the M40 for now. Right, I'm going to miss a load of questions out, just because obviously when I was sorting the mask out I got a load. So if you've got any new interesting comments, post them now. I'll sit up in the chair so you can see me properly. What sort of filter did you use with it, Gavins? Yeah, I've played Mountain Blade. This isn't British Avon S10. They used to be about £30, they're a bit more now, but you can still buy them on auction. But bear in mind, they don't normally come with the red outsert, you have to buy those separately, and they're quite expensive normally. Don't know if I can get that outsert back on very well with the mask currently on my face. There we go. If you actually ever wanted to make me a slingshot mic, I'd happily buy one from you and I could do some videos of it. And I'd rather get one from you, to be honest, because we chat so much on YouTube. No, I don't have a ghillie suit, Riley, but I've got plenty of camo and scrim netting which would work just as well. The S10 definitely, because it's actually made from butyl rubber. So the rubber on the S10 doesn't need a mask on top of the mask to make it work. Plus you can attach radio equipment directly to the S10. Original filter for which mask? The original S10's filters are safe, provided they don't leak. The same goes for every filter ever made, though. What country are you in, Finley? Let me have a quick look on eBay and then I'll link one. I don't generally like to do that, but I can see if I can just quickly find an FM12 for you. I found one that's buy it now. That's in size 1, 2 or 3. It posts worldwide, so here you go. This is a bit more than I'd pay for it. I'd look... Ah, damn it, the comment's too long to actually be able to post, due to the link. I just wonder if there's any way I can share this with you. It's literally on UK eBay. Go on ebay.co.uk, type in FM12. The first result is one for $54.99. Buy it now, that ships worldwide. The seller is called CSP_cat, they have 39,125 feedbacks with a 99.7% feedback score. So pretty legit. I might be able to link you to the seller actually, because if that's a shorter URL. Yeah, there we go. It seems like they sell surplus police stuff, and the police in the UK use the FM12. So, there you go. Right, see you, Buzz Fusion. I don't know what video you mean on British troops, Blitzkrieg. No, I don't have any koshes or anything like that. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you haven't liked the stream so far. Let's have a look at my statistics just to see how we're doing on that. Right, we have 25 viewers at the moment and 44 likes, so that's good. We've had about 2 or 3 dislikes, but that doesn't bother me. He started insulting people randomly, or he was shitposting Johnny, so I blocked him. Well, I don't know if the problem is, as I've already said, I can't get links for people in other countries because I don't know if they'll ship there or not. I'm not really into that whole SCP thing, Elizabeth. I do know about, like, the SCP, which is the GP5, and the old one that kills you when you're not looking at it. But I've not read any of the SCP things in a while, and I know there was a big kind of debate kind of thing over the SCPs, you know, lots of arguing among their own community and that kind of stuff, so I've not really read into it for ages. If Mike gets it done before the end of the summer, I can shoot it in the garden. That'd be good. Yeah, I like all the Stalker games, Blitzkrieg Carl. Oh, that's cool, Richard. Weather's quite nice at the moment. I've got 2 rebreathers. I've got an IP4M and an IP5. Not that I'd ever use a rebreather though, unless I really had to due to the risks associated with them. I generally let most people keep posting on these streams unless they start, you know, irritating people on purpose, because at that point, you know, that, you know, they're doing it to be annoying rather than, if that makes sense. Alright, cool. I probably just want a very simple one though, Mike, you know, where it's like the Y-shaped one made out of wood or aluminium, with, you know, just like the bands on it, with the pouch, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm asthmatic. Brown one for morning and night, blue one for whenever I need an inhaler. I've got Siege, but I've not played it in ages. No, it's got nothing to do with asbestos poisoning. It's because I was born with asthma. Well, I developed it when I was a teenager or whatever. It went away for a while, then it got worse again. But I tell you what, I've not taken my brown inhaler yet today, so I want to try something. Let's see, can I put the inhaler through the mask? That works, yeah. Yep, so you can take an inhaler through a mask if you remove the filter. Interesting to try out, but yeah, you can put them there and then take the inhaler. I've got the cap on it at the moment. This is a US M1 carbine, it's deactivated, but 30 M1 carbine US rifle. World War II, designed as a paratrooper's rifle and a lightweight infantry rifle for rear echelon troops. You can breathe without the filter. The thing is that the mask doesn't filter anything. So the point is, when you've got a filter on a gas mask, you're protected from gas. When you don't have a filter, you're not. There are a couple of masks like the GSR though, where you can't use them without the filter. Let's just get this back in. Which is harder to do than you'd think with the mask actually on your face. There we go. I've played a bit of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but I prefer Counter-Strike Source, the older one. And you'll probably recognise that if I've got this particular mask on, this is the SAS mask in Counter-Strike. Let's just stand up so you can see it with see, that's the actual SAS mask in Counter-Strike, not this helmet, but the mask itself. Until he makes another account and comes back, Riley, like everybody does. I've done a video on that before, Snowman. It probably depends how easily you can fall asleep. The thing you have to be careful of is sun masks, because if you fall asleep and block the intake, you could suffocate. Well, it's going to depend on the mask itself. Right, see you, Elizabeth. I'm only going to be streaming for another 20 odd minutes or so, because I'm doing a second stream later tonight. Oh, thank you very much again, Hotshot. Ah, cool. Well, I'm glad you're not driving if you've donated, because we wouldn't want you to have a crash, but thank you. Yeah, it's Easter Sunday. I've actually got an Easter egg this year, because we had to go to a funeral on Tuesday, sadly, last Tuesday. I drove my entire family to a funeral. My mum bought me an Easter egg for saying thank you for driving, everybody, because it was only a last minute thing that I said I'd drive because her car had a problem. But yeah, thank you very much, Hotshot. All that sort of stuff goes towards the stuff on the channel. I'm really glad you enjoy the videos. Let me put that back down again a bit so my face is properly in angle. Where are you driving then to, Hotshot, if you don't mind me asking, if you're on the road? You seeing family or something? Assume you're in the US as your donation was in dollars. Yeah, the nice thing as well is it wouldn't make a difference to me because I've got it booked off as holiday, but I'd actually be off work for Easter Sunday because where I work has to close for Easter Sunday. Okay, is that a long drive? Because in the US you've got obviously really long roads, haven't you, and things, because you're such a big country compared to the UK. In the UK, we can go from sort of the south of England to Scotland in probably like 8 to 10 hours of driving. Don't know what you mean by that, Beeben. If you mean the mouse you caught the other day that's now a pet mouse, I guess, but you can't post pictures in the chat, it won't let you. I work at a garden centre as a kitchen porter in the cafe/restaurant we have in the thing, so that's cleaning at the weekends. And then I do YouTube stuff during the week. But this weekend I've got it booked off as holiday and they're closed on the Sunday anyway. So, and a link won't work, as I said, Beeben. Just trying to get that clasp out. There we go. The only problem with wearing a gas mask during these streams, this is something Mike will find funny, is you know how your throat dries out during a stream, Mike? Because, you know, you're talking a lot. With a mask on, it dries out even faster because you're not even getting any moisture coming in when you talk, because the filter's taking away all the moisture. Do you mean a little charcoal masks, mate, or do you mean a different one? I'm just going to switch my thing off. In the windowsill, I've got one of those things that melts wax that makes quite a nice smell. But I'm going to turn that off because if I leave that on for too long, it makes my room smell too strong, and then that'll irritate my throat as well. But they've got one which is like a charcoal impregnated little paratroopers mask, which I forget the name of, and they've also got like the PMK3 or the PMKS, whatever it is. This is a Swiss Army hiker, so technically that's camping hiking gear, isn't it? I got these knives from Blades and Bows recently, which are designed as sort of outdoor knives. Just going to get the M1 in a position where I'm not going to knock anything with it. Try and get out its holster because it does hold the knives really tight. But these are like outdoor, kind of, you know, like camping, hiking knives. If it focuses. If it wants to focus. Yeah, good enough, I suppose. No, it's not illegal, it's perfectly legal. No, it's an Umarex or whatever they're called. Can't remember the complete name of it. And I've not got an M1 Garand. I've got the M1 carbine that's in my hand. Alright, let me have a quick look, mate. I'll see if the comment comes up, because it might have put it in the spam folder. Sometimes I can see comments in the spam folder, sometimes it just deletes them, but let's have a look. Alright, let me just quickly refresh while I'm looking at that, the views and likes and everything on the stream, because that's always interesting. Okay, currently 25 live viewers, 46 likes, which is 92%, so I've had a load more dislikes recently. So I guess somebody's been coming on with several accounts just to dislike it because they're sad, but oh well. Still an overwhelmingly large number of likes to dislikes. But yeah, good. Let me have a look for your thing, mate. This is just a Primark one. Primark's like one of the cheapest clothes shops in the UK, but you can buy shirts like this for normally like £2 or £3. And they're decent enough, they don't rip easily or whatever. So in the summer I get a lot of shirts like this, to be honest. But yeah, they're like £2 or £3. Alright, see you, Richard. CT12s are a lot rarer. I've got a CT12. At the moment there's no comment showing up. Let me go on to Creator Studio Classic and see if I can see it. Oh yeah, you've got a little mouse in some straw. Well, as long as you look after him properly, that's alright. No, the only thing that's like a French sword is there's a rapier there, but that's just a generic European style rapier. And on that side there's a sabre, which is a US cavalry sabre from like the 1860s sort of period. It's a reproduction, but they're very similar to a lot of the UK and French sabres of the Napoleonic War period, because America basically just copied the bits they liked from the European sabres from the sort of 1812 sort of period. If you want to see that, let me just get these masks out of the way a second, and then I'll show you. If you want to see the the US style cavalry saber. I'll show you that quickly. Let me just get this stuff out of the way so I don't trip over anything and kill myself. Let's just get the filter back in there. One thing out the way then. Let me just do the chin strap up on my helmet a second so that doesn't fall up on the thing. I think that's the chin strap on. Right. No, never mind, it's come loose again. Right, let me just put the S10 in its bag quickly. I'll put the outserts back on it just so I don't lose them. Because they're technically worth more than the mask. That's the funny thing with the S10. The outserts are a lot rarer than the masks themselves. There we go, that's that back on there. Right then, if you want to see the saber, just get this off of the thing I've got it attached to. There we go. So right, let me just catch up with the chat, because obviously I've been missing the chat where the only sort of European swords I've got is that arming sword there. But my most interesting one I'll show you, historical European swordsman, is the falchion, because I had that as a commissioned one. Right, the helmet's slipping over my eyes, so let's take the helmet off a minute. Right, so yeah, I've got, I had a falchion commissioned. This is a Heron Armory falchion. Again, I'm sitting a bit too close to the screens for you to be able to see it properly, but there you go. Oh yeah, storage is always an issue because if you have a collection and live in a normal sized house. And bear in mind, in the UK, all our houses are much smaller than houses in places like the US. You're going to run out of room pretty quickly, which is why I put a load more stuff on the wall, just so it's not on the floor. There's lots of swords I would get if I had the money and space for them, you know, but the thing is I have to kind of weigh up, don't I, what I spend all my money on. Oh, it looks like I've cut my lip slightly. That wasn't with a sword, that's just where the skin's come off, but yeah, it's bleeding. For the people asking what the helmet is, it's a US M1 helmet, but I don't think it's an actual American one. I think it's one built under license by one of the other European countries. The thing is though, with the Japanese homes, the Japanese people are generally very well organised, aren't they, Slingshot Warrior? So all their homes are very neatly laid out. They don't have a lot of clutter in them. Whereas I'm one of those people, although I do tidy up all my stuff now and again and throw stuff away, I'm one of those people that's very bad at, you know, organising my stuff very neatly. I've got another shelving rack coming though soon, so I'm going to have a shelf that I'm going to put up there. If that's, you know, above the frame, you can't really see it, and if that works well, I'm then going to buy a couple more, put them all in a row, and then I can have a load of my stuff, you know, on shelves up there, so it's going to be out of the way. Yeah, I'm going to be on for 15 more minutes, maybe, Alex. Right, I'm going to sit back in the chair a bit more again, just so, just sorting something out down there, don't worry about that. I'll do another joke video. I'll tell you what, there is a joke video that's coming up. Let me tell you what day it comes out on. It's probably quite far away at the moment, but right. May the 8th. So in like 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, there is a video on, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's a parody of a smoke alarm PSA kind of thing, but that's a joke video. Yeah, if I had room from Slingshot Warrior, I'd have a shelf with all sorts of like little military figurines on them, but I don't. Right, your channel looks quite interesting, Historical European Swordsman, so I'm going to give you a subscribe, and then I'm going to tick the bell, and then next time you upload a video on like a sword or a helmet or something, I'll check that out. Alright, see you, Hotshot. Thank you again for the donation. That's very kind of you. I do appreciate it, because it always goes towards stuff like gas masks or swords or whatever. Well, I reckon the best way to store them, Alex, again, keep them out of direct sunlight and all the same things as masks, is if you had those little helmet stands for them. Or the foam heads, you know, where you could have all them on a shelf and then you could have all the helmets on the heads. But sadly, because I don't have room for that, all my helmets are on top of a bookcase. And then I've got, you know, them stacked up inside each other, where I put the smallest helmet on the bottom, then the next size helmet so it sits on top of that one, then the next one like Russian dolls, you know, where the bigger helmets then slot on top of the smaller helmets. Let me have a look at some slingshot things. Alright, I found a design I like, Mike, if you could do it out of aluminium or something. Let me just I'll send it you on Twitter. But yeah, I only want something really simple with a slingshot, something that's got a decent amount of power on it, but, you know, something fairly simple. And that's it. Right, I've sent you an image, hopefully it works, Mike, the image. I think it does, I just clicked the link in Twitter, if you're still on. That's for Weapon Collector. Yeah, cool. Right, yeah, you should see the one I've sent. So, you might want to do the bands slightly differently, like the Ferroband kind of things, or whatever they are. But, you know, it's that kind of design, where you've just got the simple Y-shaped slingshot. But that's kind of what I'd want from a slingshot, just something very simple. Well, in general, the bigger armoured ships with the better guns win. In the Chinese Opium War that Britain fought against China, China massively outnumbered the British Navy, but because Britain had like state-of-the-art military ships at the time, the Chinese Navy was just wiped out, because lots and lots of smaller ships, you know, don't do well against big armoured ships with massive firepower. Alright, see you, Riley. Thanks for joining in. Well, as I said, Ashigaru, because I'm asthmatic, I have to be quite careful about what I do, and I've got a whole other load of chronic illnesses as well. But yeah, I do a bit of weightlifting and stuff like that. Morning routine is get up, have some coffee, take all the medication I need for my chronic illnesses, then get on with my day. Depends what I'm doing, if it's a day I'm at work or a day I'm doing YouTube videos. But my morning routine is mostly taking all the medication I need, sadly. Alright, see you, mate. Have a good day. If they're equal tech, it depends which ones have the guns that could damage the other ships. Because obviously if they're little small boats, they probably don't have the right armaments on, do they, to damage bigger ships? Unless they've got like torpedoes and like missile launchers on there that could shoot through the hull of the bigger ship. But yeah, I mean, it depends really, doesn't it? It's hard to say. I mean, in a lot of things, outnumbering a bigger thing does have the advantage, but if it's a thing where, you know, the bigger thing has so much armour and firepower on it, like ships do, you know, like a massive battleship or aircraft carrier is probably going to decimate lots of patrol boat sized things. That reminds me, in about a week and a half, I need to put in a load more of my prescriptions to the pharmacy. So I'll do that then, but that's not just yet. It's just, with some of my medications, obviously I'm on the thing where every month I have to request more of it. I don't know, a trophy case might be good. It just depends how your room laid out is, or whatever room you want to put them in, because there's some rooms in my house where the windows are, there's certain areas of the room where no matter what the time of day is, sunlight is not going to hit a certain area, so I like those preferably for storage, you know. Where there's other rooms where they're not very good for storing things because the sunlight is always in that room for most of the day. I'd still say the big one, Arbiter. I mean, it's still without going into all the details. I was saying, but let's say, you know, the CIWS guns or whatever they call them, like the big Gatling guns that are designed for shooting down aircraft and like incoming missiles. If the bigger ship had lots of those on it covering all angles, it would do pretty well, because it can just keep brr, 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 all the incoming stuff and destroy the other ships. It depends though. If they're people who legitimately need it, then that's fine, Ashigaru. It's if they're people who are giving them who don't need them. It's like the same with all medication. Because there's lots of things where people with certain illnesses will need certain medications. If aliens found us, and they're intelligent enough to have space flight and all this sort of stuff, no, we'd be screwed. But hopefully aliens even know we exist and don't care about us, or they're, you know, like us and they're just isolated on their own planet. But I think if aliens had all the technology, you know, to find Earth and all that, and they are capable of like fast and light space travel, they'd decimate us in a war, wouldn't they? Because nukes would be like kids' toys for them. They'd probably have like antimatter weapons that could just destroy Earth in a second or whatever. So. But there's also the possibility that the aliens could be something like the Bug from Starship Trooper, or like Tyranids from Warhammer 40,000, where they're kind of some sort of weird bio-organism kind of things that devour planets like locusts. You know, maybe then we could nuke them, you know, and we could fight against them. I'll tell you what, I'll very quickly get the GP5M down for you. I'm going to take the filter off though, because it's got that Chinese filter on it at the moment which leaks, so let me get the filter off. There you go, that's the GP5M. Can't take the voice diaphragm off of this one though. Well, it's like in the War of the Worlds, isn't it, Arbiter? The Martians completely defeat man with all the war machines and everything, but they get destroyed by microbes and bacteria because they're not immune. Yeah, exactly, Mike. If it keeps people entertained, it keeps people entertained. I'm just going to take this off a second, because what I want to have a look at is where the person was saying that their GP5 wasn't put together right. Same with this one, with the circular eyepieces. Now, if you look at both the eyepieces on this mask, you might be able to see it, where there's like these little metal lines on part of the eyepiece. This one's got one facing this way, you know, where my finger is there. And this one, I think, has got one there. Yeah, it has. So they're both in the exact same position, but in theory they should be in, like, opposite positions. So yeah, that's what people mean when they say, you know, the circular eyepieces on the GP5s aren't put together right. Doesn't actually matter for the sake of the mask working, but it's one of those things. Well, most of the time my friends come over, they always want to play with stuff, yeah. Because they're like, oh, this looks cool, can we look at that? That looks cool, can we look at that? So yeah, that always happens on those sort of streams. Not streams, you know, just coming around and doing stuff. It depends, I suppose, how much weight and everything and manoeuvrability they want, because the problem is with a lot of this sort of stuff is the more armour you have, the more it slows you down and the more it restricts you. So you always have to come to a compromise between manoeuvrability and comfort and actual level of armoured protection. About 100, Lenin? I think probably over 100, to be honest. Yeah, but you'd always wear a chemical hood with the mask, Alex. Because if you're in a situation where you're going to be exposed to chemicals that would destroy your ears, you'd need a full NBC suit on anyway, so it wouldn't matter, because the NBC suit would come to like that on the mask. I don't have a horse gas mask. What are you looking at? Or did you say hose? Sorry, hose. That's a children's PDF, but I put a custom hose on it because it was a repair job I did on the video. No, I'm not going to get another mask out now. The stream's ending in 2 minutes. So yeah, most NATO gas masks expose your ears anyway, so it's no real difference. It's just in this one, it's just so you can hear a bit better. Yeah, any mask can protect you from acid for a time. Again, lots of really strong acids and things will slowly eat through the mask, but if it was like hit you in the face or it's airborne, it will protect you for a period. I can't do a machine gun, but I can do an A10, so an autocannon shooting really fast. That's not right. That's the best I can do. But yeah, when they fire fast enough, you can't even hear the individual bullets, can you? Or cartridges. It just becomes like a drone sort of noise. But yeah, I love the really deep sort of drone noise A10s and other really fast autocannons make, where it just sounds like, you know, a monotone kind of electrical buzz sort of noise. Alright, I'll be finishing this stream in a minute, but as I said, I'm doing 2 streams today. The second stream's going to be at 7 PM UK time, and again, it's going to be about an hour and a half. Now, I'm just going to check something on here. But yeah, there's been 26 live viewers. Currently there's 57 likes, so if you haven't liked the stream, please like it. Let's get the likes up a little bit more before I end. And as said, if you're interested in merch, please look below, because there's a Teespring account, so you can get mugs and shirts and things with gas mask designs on. But yeah, I think they look pretty good if you wanted one. No, I don't have a sniper rifle of any sort. There is GP5 merch, yeah. If you look on the Teespring, Alex, let me get you one of the designs up and post it in the chat. Hang on a second. So let's say you're after a GP5 mug. There you go. Yeah, I said there's a 7 PM stream. It'll be 7 PM UK time. Yeah, I've seen all the Wolf Creek films and TV series. It's based on a real person, isn't he? What's his name? The real bloke was called Ivan Milat, who was the backpack killer. So yeah, you can get that in all sorts of colours, and it's on shirts and hoodies as well if you wanted it. But there you go, there's the GP5 design. I might get a second mug at some point, and I'll probably get a GP5 one. If you mean for actual use, Finley, at least 2 or 3. But you also want a training filter as well, so you can train using the mask with a filter. And then, you know, like sealed ones ready for some sort of event where you actually need them. Right, anyway, I've gone over the time limit. So, see you everybody. As said, there's another stream tonight at 7 PM UK time. Thanks for watching. If you haven't put a like on this stream, please just tick the like button, because it seems to help people see the streams. So I'll be on later tonight for people in different time zones or people who want to watch another stream. So see you then. And yeah, have fun everybody. Goodbye.